Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing great. Welcome back to Target Pubad. I am Bhavna Verma, and in this video we will discuss the Prohibition of Child Marriage Amendment Bill to 2021, which was recently presented in Lok Sabha in December 2021. In this video we will discuss what all we need to know about the Child Marriage Amendment Bill. What are the arguments in favor of this bill and what are the arguments in against of this bill, and what will be the scenario and what will be the circumstances of this bill if this bill is passed by the parliament. But before we do that, I would request to please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share the links to these classes with your friends and other aspirants as well. So let's start with this. Before we get into this, first I want to give you an overview of this bill. So on the eve of 15th August 2020, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the nation from the Red Fort. He said that his government is considering of raising the minimum legal age for marriage for women. Why? Because he said when a girl child is married at an early age, she suffers from numbers of problems, and the major one is malnutrition. What is the reason behind this bill? If the age of marriage for girls will increase, it will also improve the health and nutritional standards of women. Not only women, but it also increase or improve the nutritional standards of infant as well. There was a committee was set up by the Government of India headed by the former President Ms. Jaya Jetli of the Samta Party. This committee was set up to relook at the minimum legal age for marriage for girls. The committee was included in the university students, prominent NGOs and other stakeholders as well, and submitted its report to the Prime Minister's office and the Union Ministry of Women, Child and Development. In December 2021, the Union Cabinet cleared the bill to raise the minimum legal age from 18 to 21. Consider the Child Marriage Restraint Act of 1929. At what time, when we were still the British colony, there was one individual, Mr. Harbilas Sharda, introduced a proposal in the Imperial Legislative Council to prohibit child marriage. According to this legislation, or according to that regulation, women must be 14 years old to get married, while men must be 18 years old. Women must be 14 years old and men must be 18 years old. However, this law was not implemented because British administration opted not to do so, because it did not want to offend the sensitivities of radical criminals after the country gained independence. Later on in 1949, the minimum legal age for marriage was increased to 15 and that of boy was remained to 18. Later on in 1978, the minimum legal age for marriage for girls was increased from 15 to 18, and for that of men to 21. And since long we are following this, means according to Sharda Act, according to the amendments in Sharda Act in 1978, the minimum age for girls to marry is 18 and the minimum age for boys to marry is 21. There was a Child Restraint Act of 1929, but then in 2006, the Sharda Act was replaced by Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. The Sharda Act was replaced by the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, which was passed in the year 2006. And what was that bill? The minimum age for girls to marry is 18 and the minimum age for boys to marry is 21. Because the government age switched from restraint to outright ban of child marriages. According to this law, minimum age for girls to marry is 18 years old, while the minimum legal age for boys to marry is 21 years old. You may be wondered why it is a distinction between the age brackets. I want to tell you why. Why minimum age for girls is lower than the minimum age of boys for marriage. because there is a belief that girls mature faster than boys, and that if they mature faster, they should be married off at a young age. This is the law that being sought to be amended. The Prohibition of Child Marriage Amendment Bill 2021, it is a law that intend to amend the 2006 law, which raises minimum legal age for marriage of women 21. In order to achieve parity, there is a minimum legal age for marriage for boys and girls is 21. However, you may be wonder if this bill violate other personal law as well. As we all know that every religious sects are regulated differently when it comes to their personal law, because in our country there is a lack of uniform civil codes. Personal laws such as marriage, divorce, inheritance, adoption are handled individually. Yes, this legislation will trump all these personal law, because if we look at the text of this law, despite anything contradicting or inconsistence expressed anywhere else, whether it is a Christian law, Hindu Marriage Act, Parsi law, personal law in Islam, this act will violate all other personal laws. In short, this bill will violate all other law because India lacks the uniform civil code. This bill will override all those provisions, which means that regardless of whether a particular religion believes that the minimum legal age for girls is 14, 16, 15, whatsoever, the law will override all other personal laws. When it comes to marriage, which means that the minimum legal age for marriage for both girls and boys will remain same, which is 21. Means, in short, the minimum legal age for both boys and marry will be 21 if this bill passed by the parliament. So this was all the overview of this bill. If this bill passed by the parliament, the minimum legal age for both boys and marriage will be 21. Now, what are the amendments? What are the favorable arguments again in favor of this bill? What are the views? What are the thoughts in favor of this bill? So first is discrimination on the basis of sex is prohibited under the Constitution. In Indian Constitution, Article 14, we are talking about the Article 14, which talks about the equality before the law. But not only equality, our Constitution also emphasized that discrimination should be prohibited. When there is no discrimination mainly on the basis of sex, then why it is that the minimum legal age for boys is 21 and for that is 18. According to Article 15 of the Indian Constitution, what Article 15 says that the state shall not discriminate against any citizen merely on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. This is what Article 15 says. If this bill passed by the parliament, discrimination will be eliminated. If this bill passed by the parliament, then discrimination on the basis of sex will be eliminated as per the Article 15. I told you why the minimum legal age for female to marry is lower than the boys. And I told you only one reason, that the girl mature faster. But there is a notion that girls mature faster than boys. But you know, there is a concealed patriarchal attitude here. How? Because a man is a provider of a family. The guy must provide wealth, opportunity, food and all other necessary for a good life for his family. This means this boy must complete his education, enters into the employment, gains financial stability and then runs his family. Means once you complete your education, enters into the job market and get financial stability, then get married. But what about girls? They has nothing to do, only fit to take care of the kitchen and children's. Marry her off once she reaches at the age of 18. She will have no education, no financial independence, the historic error will be corrected if we increase the minimum legal age for both for girls is 21. If the legal marriage age for both man and woman will be same, this historic error will be corrected. Apart from this, we have a bill that sets some minimum legal age for marriage for both boys and girls. Will also have a twin difficulties: higher maternal mortality rate and infant maternal mortality rate. Those who supports this bill says that it's a good idea. The concept is that we have high maternal mortality rate and high infant maternal mortality rate as well. The reason for this, that we are marrying a girl at a young age, she is not physically strong, that leads to related complications, which leads to her higher maternal mortality rate, because the girl child is not in a position to take care of a new infant. Within a year of child being born, we see a lot of death, numbers of death we see within a year of marriage only. If a minimum legal age for marriage is raised, the maternal death rate will get improved and the infant mortality rate will also get reduced or decreased if we pass this bill. Apart from this, increasing the minimum legal age for marriage will make responsible father and mother as well. How? Increase the possibility of responsible parenthood, because if a girl is 21 and a boy is 21, we have this historic horrible practice of female feticide, where we killed a child inside the womb of her mother. The logic is that if the minimum legal age of marriage for girls is increased to 21, she will become mentally, emotionally very strong and will be able to take a stand against the pressure of her in-laws. She will not allow her fetus, her girl child, to be killed inside the womb, which will improve the sex ratio at birth. When a girl child is about 21, boy is about 21, they will focus on the nutritional need and the better care of his family, which is another important factor of this bill. Apart from this, we have an issue of teenage pregnancies as well. We will contribute to reduction in the numbers of teenage pregnancies, which is not only damaging to women's overall health but also lead to more miscarriages and stillbirth. Means we have the issue of teenage pregnancy to contend with. It is obvious that the teenagers are not strong enough, and if more and more teenagers get married and become pregnant, which will lead to complications in pregnancy. And what will be the result? More miscarriages, stillbirth will be get in picture. These are the other challenges of more and more miscarriages, and stillbirth will also be avoided if the minimum legal age for marriage will be get increased to 21. These rates, the rates of marriages and stillbirth will get reduced. Then we have women empowerment and financial independence. The minimum legal age for girls is to marry 18. If this bill passed, what will be the minimum legal age? Will be 21. Now it is the legal age for marriage is 18. If this bill passed, what will be the age? 21. Then what this girl will do in these 3 years? She can not only sit at home. What she will do? She will finish her education, enters into the employment, became financially strong, and no longer to be dependent on the mercies of men, whether it's her father, brother, husband, or anyone else. Imagine a girl become financially secure, independent, confident that she will refuse to marry even after the age of 21. That she will refuse to marry the person chosen by her family, that she will choose the person of her own choice. This will help in women empowerment because there is no substitute of financial independence. Nothing can substitute the financial independence. Then we have population management. Although the government is silent on this, whether this bill is also aimed at a population control or not. The government did not said anything, but that's the one of the objective is to ensure population control. But even if it is this, the aim of the government, then what's wrong? At the rate which we are reproducing, we will soon surpass the rate at we will be considered as the world's most populous country. And we do not have the unlimited resources. We have limited resources. And what will be the condition if the huge population, if the massive population is competing for same number of limited resources? This condition will be dangerous. This is the one other consequences of this bill. If this bill get passed, signed into the law, it is also important aspects of this bill. Then we have important favorable argument of this bill. This law will take effect, will came into picture or will be implemented after 2 years of presidential assent. Why so? As we know that law may not change the society, but they are the first steps towards the changing society. However, we cannot implement this change in a prompt manner, which means we must give people some time to accept the positive implications of this law, and that for that reason the government has taken one more steps by announcing that these amendments will enter into force or will implemented after 2 years from the date of presidential assent. That is, the president will grant ascendancy to this bill in 2022. The amendment will came into effect in 2024, giving the people 2 years, giving the time period of 2 years to the people, to the citizens of the country to reconcile with the change and embrace it and understand the beneficial aspects of this, which is another positive component of this bill. Apart from all these favorable arguments, this bill is referred to the Parliamentary Standing Committee. Why it is good? Because they have been claimed that against the government that it is abusing the parliamentary majority by rushing laws through. Farm bill are being pushed, no debate, no discussion, and bill are passed by voice vote only. But look at the government leniency. The government could have passed this bill because it has a majority on the floor of parliament. But what the government did? It referred this bill to the Parliamentary Standing Committee. Why so? Because there can be a good debate on this, a good discussion. And that's the exact job of the parliament. Perhaps the protective advantage for women will be expanded. The debate of MPs on the terms of this bill will be expanded further, which is another positive aspects of this bill. So what's the idea? The proposal is to raise minimum legal age for marriage from 18 to 21, bringing them on the level with males or boys. What are your understanding on this? These are the on this favorable argument. Please comment below. Apart from all these things, we have unfavorable arguments as well. Let's look at the arguments against this bill. First is who requested it, who demanded for it. As we all know that there are numbers of issues running in the country, such as farmer demands from the loan, farmer demands for loan, students are demanding for job, and other students are demanding for exams. Railway exam have not been conducted, teachers exams have been cancelled. So many different peoples are demanded and different things from the government. But who demanded for this? Is there any protest coming from any section of the society, or is there any particular community is claiming that there is an urgent need of this bill? We need to amend this bill, or we need to increase the minimum legal age for marriage of women from 18 to 21. Then who asked for it? When no one asked, then why this bill was introduced? Then we have a poverty or early marriage as the cause of malnutrition. Critics says that Prime Minister Narendra Modi claims that girls are married off at a young age suffers from malnutrition. Yes, statistics shows that malnutrition among women is on the rise. We also see an increase in the incidence of malnutrition among those who are married off at a young age. But it is because of poverty, not an early marriage age. How? How does the poverty affect the woman, the girl child who's married off at an early age? Because a girl child need to be married at an early age because of poverty, not because of this. Why she is married off at a such young age? She is married off at a such young age because of poverty. Look at the studies done at the different points in this country. Study number 1 says that girls are married off at an early age because of escalation in the dowry demands. If a demand for dowry is today's one amount, then it will be multiplied by the factor of 10 tomorrow. So marry the girl at an early age because there is an escalation in dowry demand, despite the fact that accepting dowry is against the law. Another reason is that fear of sexual assault and a lack of security among family members for the safety of girl child, particularly in rural area, particularly among the poor, marginalized, weaker section of the society. There is a fear of sexual assault that is pushing families to marry their girl child at an early age. Yes, malnutrition is widespread. However, the cause of malnutrition may not be an early marriageable age. Rather, the cause of malnutrition may be poverty. Otherwise, look at the people from wealthy family in urban area. Those families who are not poor do not marry the girl child at an early age. Statistics shows that the girl child from a poor family is married off at an early age in the majority of cases. So we can say that the malnutrition, the main cause of malnutrition is poverty, not early marriage age. According to newspaper, third is young women are voluntarily scripting changes. In India, average age of women has risen to 22.1 years. According to newspapers and reports, says that overwhelming the majority of women of the girls that this committee are met in the favor of raising the minimum legal age for marriage for girls from 18 to 21. But the government or the committee speaks to the university students who are already well off or who are already so strong enough. They are already scripting the change without any law. So what is the need? We need to talk with the people, or we need to talk with the people in the rural areas. Then we have women infantilization. What is women infantilization? This bill results in infantilization of women. How? She can drive a car, gearless vehicle when she is 16 years old. If she is 18 years old, she can drive a car with gears or motorcycle with gears in the majority of the Indian states. She is old enough to vote. If she is 18 years old, consider the irony here. A lady between the age of 18 to 21 who has voted in these elections, because of their vote, they are now persons sitting in the parliament who are claiming that these group of people between the 18 and 21 who have elected them are minors. Means the person who have elected the representative in the parliament are not old enough to marry. This is the irony. This leads to women infantilization, which is another issue with this law. Means in simple words we can say that the girl between the age of 18 and 21 who have elected the representative in the parliament but not old enough to marry. This is another issue with this law. Another issue with this law is India is a signatory to the resolution adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1989, which suggested the minimum age of marriage for 18 years. India is a signatory to the resolution adopted by United General Assembly in 1989, and this was the resolution that recommended 18 years age 18 years of age as the minimum age for marriage. In fact, there is a connection. India is a signatory to the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And it is this committee, the committee of the convention, India, that has recommended 18 years as the minimum age for marriage, and now we are going against our commitment that we made in the 1989 by introducing this law, or by introducing this bill. If we are past this bill, that means we are going against our commitment only. This is the another issue with this law, or with this bill, sorry. Then what is the key to this? The key is education. According to a study conducted by the International Center for Research on Women, girls who have dropped out of a school are 3.4 times more likely to be already married than girls who are still in schools. Now there is another problem to deal with. Give women education, they will change our lives of millions of people. If you educate, as Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said, if you educate a man, you are only educating an individual. But if you educate a woman, you are educating the entire family, which is essentially means you are educating the entire society. It expresses something, interviewing girls who have dropped out of schools, those who are not in the schools, those who have dropped out of schools, or those who have not been completed education, are 3.4 times more likely to be unemployed and get married. Those who are still in a school, which means you are not in a school or have dropped out, you are 3.4 times more likely to marry at the age of 18 or younger than those who are still in a school, which means if you give education to the girl child, early marriage will be stopped on their own. There is no need to pass any bill. Then we have, according to United Nations Population Fund, State of World Report 2020, in India, 51% of young women with no education and 47% of those with a primary education had married by the age of 18, compared to 29% of in young women with a secondary education and 4% with a post-secondary education. In India, the United Nations Population Fund conducted another research. According to that, young illiterate marry before the age of 18 in the 51%. Means 51% of young women with those who are illiterate are married before they attains the age of 18. And 47% of women with only a primary education marry before they turns 18 years old. When a female has only a secondary education, only 29% of those women marry before they become 18 years of old. By the age of 18, only 4% of individuals with a post-secondary education. What is the significance of this? If a girl have a greater educational option, means if a girl is a more educated, they are more inclined to focus on the profession and education rather than marriage, which implies education. Opposition says that we will not see any changes simply by amending our legislation to raise a minimum legal age of marriage from 18 to 21. We will not see any change unless and until we provide a girl child with a good, proper and quality education. That makes sense. Means we need to provide proper education to the girl child. We cannot just improve this. We cannot improve the women empowerment by simply amending our legislation. Another is 56% of women between the ages of 20 and 24 marry before they turn 21. There is another problem. This is a potentially hazardous situation. According to data, 56% of women between the age of 20 and 24 marry before they reaching the age of 21. And this trend don't shift quickly. So, this will probably continue for a while. Also, do you realize what you are doing? You are criminalizing more than half of the female population. That's the issue with this law. This law, there's another problem this law is neither feasible nor evidence based and doesn't respect the woman's right. How? This is another problem. This law is not practicable, evidence based or respectful of women's right. Why it is not viable? We already have a law prohibiting child marriages which define marriage of a girl child under the age of 18 is prohibited, but girl child persists. This means that despite having a law prohibiting girl child marriages for a girl child under the age of 18, we have not eradicated the girl child marriages. How we can now increase it to 21, which means expanding our target audience from 18 to 21. It is not feasible to implement this to be effective because we fail to tackle child marriages under the age of 18. So how we can show that when it will be increased, the canvas of our population from 18 to 21, we will be successful. If we are failed to secure or if we are failed in eradicating the child marriages before the age of 18, then how we can sure that if we increase the legal age for marriage is to 21, this problem will get reduced or this problem will get eradicated. So this law is not feasible or nor it is based on any evidence. Because you say if a girl child is married off at an early age, she suffers from malnutrition. But the reason for malnutrition is poverty, not an early marriageable age. So this law is neither feasible nor based on any evidences. Another problem is this law doesn't respect women's right. How? What about women's right to marry, which is a fundamental right under the Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, and the same Supreme Court that provided fundamental right to marriage to every single woman, every single citizen of this country has said 18 is the age of majority in the majority of its judgment. Because 18 is the age of adulthood. How can you deny a woman of that age the right to marry? A woman may want to marry the man of her choosing, but her family objects the marriage, so she wants to flee. It's a wonderful teenage relationship. They want to flee. You can argue that this is unreasonable. So why should we help them? The reason opposing this bill to raise the minimum legal age for marriage for female from 18 to 21 are that it is infantilizing women and it is not respectful for women's right. There are additional concerns as well, such as the age of consent. Section 375 of Indian Penal Code governs the age of consent. Rape when she is under the age of 16 with or without her agreement. What does this mean? What is the age of consent? At what age may a girl give consent to the sexual interaction? This age of consent is 18. It was originally 12, then it was raised to 14, and then it was raised to 16, and it was extended to 18 in the year 2013. In 2013, the age of consent to a sexual intercourse was increased to 18 in 2013. What is the logic behind it? The logic behind this, that a minor is unable to comprehend his or her own acts. Hence, he is unable to comprehend the repercussion of those actions, which is why there is a law prohibiting sex with minors. There is a legislation that bans sex between teenagers, and the age of consent is 18-year-old. So at the age of 18, a girl is old enough to give a consent to a sexual intercourse, but not old enough to form a family or marry. This is what women infant impartialization. In fact, intercourse is not. In fact, several papers or studies have urged the government to that the age of consent should be reduced to from 18 to 16. I'll explain you why. Multiple reports have urged the government to reduce this age from 18 to 16. Why? Because you must have heard about the Juvenile Justice Act of 2015. Juvenile Justice Act of 2015. It was because of this ruling that the legislation said youth between the ages of 16 and 18 old, particularly males between the ages of 16 and 18 years old who commit heinous crime, can be prosecuted as adult prior to their 16th birthday. If a juvenile, someone under the age of 18, committed any crime, the maximum punishment that could be awarded to this juvenile was 3 years old in a reform home, not in a regular jail. Which means that law made a distinction between a juvenile and an adult. And juvenile cannot be treated as an adult. But then there was a human outcry primarily because of December 2016 case in 2012. Yes, I am talking about the gang rape in a moving vehicle in capital of the country. The teenage received a maximum sentence of 3 years in a reform home and a fine. The maximum punishment given to this juvenile was 3 years in a reform home, even which he relaxed. He was released after that. After which he was released. But what happened to other rapists? One committed the suicide inside the jail while others were hanged. But this juvenile was not hanged. There was a huge outcry from the public, and eventually a few data reports and statistics were presented indicated that there is an increased incidence of crime committed by boys aged between 18 and 16 and 18. Crimes have been perpetrated in the age category of 16 and 18. That is why we need to trial these juvenile in the age group of 16 to 18 as an adult. Yes, there may be some validity in the statement. The Indian Penal Code section 357 says that what is rape? With or without her consent when she is under the age of 16. And this 16-year age was later enhanced to 18 years of age. That means a girl child will before the age of 18, she cannot give consent. In 2019, Madras High Court judgment when a boy and a girl of 17 eloped and stayed someplace for 6 months before being caught, and the family has filed a case against a male child because it's a rape, as well as prevention of sexual offense against a children. The Madras High Court said that this is a perfect illustration of teenage attraction. That is common at that age. Madras High Court requested the government to reduce this age of consent from 18 to 16. The Madras High Court, remember this, the Madras High Court requested the government to reduce the age of consent from 18 to 16. Another issue raised by the measure is whether the age of consent should be raised to 21. If it is raised to 21, we will be producing more and more rapists in our nation. Instead, age of consent should be reduced to 16. As I told you earlier also, why the juvenile will get a punishment of 3 years or 3 years of imprisonment only. And if we increase this age to 21, then the men, particularly men below the age of 21, will commit a heinous crime and will get only 3 years of imprisonment, will not be sentenced to that, will not get life imprisonment. So, in short, we will be producing more and more rapists in our nation. Instead of age of consent should be decreased to 16. Next is another concern is marital rape. Sexual intercourse between a man and his own wife, provided the wife is not under the age of 15, is not rape. If we empower them, then why don't you make a law for marital rape? If we empower the women, why don't we make a law for marital rape, a criminal offense? What is rape? It is a sexual intercourse with a woman against her will. But this marriage certificate, the marriage certificate is treated as the woman's consent for the rest of her life. Even she doesn't want to give a consent on the particular day. There have been cases where husbands forced themselves on their wives. But it is still not a crime because woman gave her consent to her husband when she signed up for the marriage. Means marriage certificates are considered as the consent for the rest of the life. This consent is rest of her life. If a wife is under the age of 15, it's a rape. But later on, due to several Supreme Court judgments, the Supreme Court stated no, it should not be 15, it should be 18. That means if a wife is under the age of 18, because the age of consent is 18, if the wife gives you the consent, it is still a rape. Means this age was increased to 18. Means a wife is giving you a consent or not. If there is a sexual intercourse between a wife and a husband, it will be called as a rape. But what about if wife is more than 18? Marital rape should still be a crime. Because what is right sexual intercourse with a woman against her will? She will not give her consent even during the marriage. That is something we really need. There are other concerns as well, which are something different. Attitude of judiciary. First, we will discuss the case of Mohinder Singh. In 1999, Mohinder Singh raped his own daughter Mata, and the court said that it is the rarest of the rare case. It is the rarest of the rare case. And death should be awarded to the Mohinder Singh. Mata went to the Supreme Court, which said no, this is not the rarest of the rare case. And life imprisonment should be imposed on Mohinder Singh. Mohinder Singh was later released on the parole. While on parole, he hacked his own daughter to death and also killed her wife. High Court said this is the rarest of the rare case. Death sentence should be given to Mohinder Singh, but appeal was filed in a Supreme Court in the year 2013, and Supreme Court said with the two judge hearing the case, Justice P. Sadashivam and Justice Khalifa. Justice P. Sadashivam later became the Chief Justice of India and also served as the Governor of the state of Kerala. But both of these judges said this is not the rarest of the rare case. Yes, this is a heinous crime. This is a heinous act. But Mohinder Singh stated that he may be menace or he may be a threat to his family, but he is not a threat to the society. Which is why we cannot condemn Mohinder Singh to death. But his death sentence was commuted to the life imprisonment a few weeks later in February 2013. In 2013, February, Mohinder Singh was commuted to life imprisonment. After a few weeks of this incident, the same judge, Justice P. Sadashivam, is hearing another case, and this time Sundarajan kidnapped a 7-year-old boy and killed him. Concerned person went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said this is the rarest of the rare case. One of the judge who gave his judgment was Justice P. Sadashivam, who just a few weeks ago said Mohinder Singh is not a threat to the society. This isn't the rarest of the rare case. But then what is the rarest of the rare case? Imagine a plight of a family who has lost their only male child, and this male child would have carried forward their family lineage. Male child is killed, both offenses, both crimes are horrible, but a male child is killed and kidnapped. This is the rarest of the rare case. While on the other hand, a girl child was raped by her father, she is then killed and her mother also was killed. This is not the rarest of the rare case. So this statute signifies the judicial prejudice. There are other concerns that we must address as well, such as patriarchal prejudice even inside the judiciary. So here we see biasness on the basis of patriarchal judices even inside the judiciary. Let's take a look at another scenario. Third case, Justice Pushpa versus Ganeriwala. Touching a minor girl's breast without removing the top would not fall within the definition of sexual assault. Justice Pushpa versus Ganeriwala recent case, recently she was rumored to be appointed as the High Court judge. But fortunately or unfortunately for her, the Supreme Court Collegium decided not to promote her. She is now a judge on the bench of Nagpur. In one of her judgment, she basically said that touching a minor girl child breast without removing her top would not fall within the definition of sexual assault. Unless and until there is no skin to skin contact. On the one side, we are talking about putting the legislation to empower women, but we also have to be a witness to judicial attitude. Will alter it? Will this law change it? Unfortunately, patriarchal prejudice can be detected in some cases in the judiciary as well. Now, when it comes to women right, Bhanwari Devi case 1992 stands out at the first. Bhanwari Devi was a citizen who was basically helping the government at the grassroots level by educating people about various laws and benefits that should be provided to the people. Satan played a role, also played an important role in that. However, because she was a woman of lower caste, girl child were taking place. There's one auspicious day in Rajasthan. There's an auspicious day in Rajasthan where legs of girl child or where legs of child marriages are performed. According to the report, there was a child marriage where 5 months old child was to be married because that day is considered to be a very auspicious day in the Rajasthan. She persuaded the government of Rajasthan to launch a campaign to discourage and prohibit child marriage. She also played a part in that, but because of her activism, members of other caste became involved. I couldn't tell you about the 5 men who barged into her house and assaulted her husband. It's a disturbing story, but that's exactly I am giving you. That's exactly why I'm giving you this story, or I'm telling you this story. I want to jolt your conscience and tell you what's going on. Men barged into her house, brutally assaulted her husband, who was badly beaten. Then men turned her, raping her. Her case was initially dismissed by the police, even by the FIR. But thanks to the media campaign, Rajasthan produced a small story that was later picked up by the national newspapers as well. And many of you and others have cried, and ultimately the FIR was eventually registered. In fact, there was a biasness against her even amongst the medical community. The court had decided whether these 5 men were guilty of raping Bhanwari Devi or not. Then the Supreme Court said they were all guilty for 2 shocking reasons. The court stated that we don't understand how, when her wife was gang raped, her husband gently submitted and did nothing. Which is why we don't think that the rape occurred. Okay, the reason number 2 is, this is surprising. There were 5 men raped and one of them was an uncle. And the other person isn't there for you. The court said shockingly, that in the Indian context we don't accept, or we can't expect, or we don't understand that an uncle is raping someone in front of his nephew, which is why these five men are equated, which is the viceness. But luckily Supreme Court came into picture and rescued in 1997. Based on Bhambati Devi case applied, a group called Vishakha petitioned the Supreme Court claiming that Vishakha was gang raped, assaulted, because she is not provided with protection, because she was working for the government and was at the workplace where women are not prevented and protected, and that a law to prevent sexual harassment of workplace was needed. The Supreme Court accepted the petition in 2012, and the Supreme Court passed a law in 1997. The Vishakha regulation was published, and these guidelines were established in the Foundation of Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Women at Work Act of 2013, which is based on the Vishakha guidelines of 1997. Other difficulties included judicial attitudes which law will not alter. If we truly want to empower a woman and change the discourse, we must do gender sensitization programs for the courts, police, and for others. Now you may be wondered that what is the status of child marriages in legal terms. Let's assume a girl under the age of 18. She marries. Is marriage legal? Is the marriage valid? If a girl under the age of 18 get married, if this marriage is valid or this marriage is legal? What if laws changes tomorrow and the legal age is, what if the legal age for marriage is changed to 21? What will happen to the wedding that takes place before the age of 21? Whether a couple is a boy or girl, whatever. These marriages are legitimate but voidable. How? It recognizes that underage marriages are legal but are voidable. What does it indicate? That when a girl child marriage before she attains the age of 18, which is the current legal age of marriage, the marriage is still valid. But when she becomes mature, which is when she turns 18, she can approach the court to nullify the marriage for 2 years up to the age of 20. If a girl marries before the 18, perhaps at the age of 14, 16 or 17 whatsoever, is the marriage legal? Yes, marriage is valid, but it is voidable in the sense that once the girl reaches the age of 18, within 2 years, she can approach with the issue and says, I was married before the legal age and I don't want to continue this marriage. I want you to terminate this marriage and declare it void. What does the legislation says? And once the girl reaches at the age of 21, she will get married. So this was all about this bill, the Prohibition of Child Marriages Amendment Bill 2021. Now what are the way forward for this bill? Way forward is this bill, legislative women reservation. The way forward is for women to have a seat in legislature. The true empowerment of women will come when 33% of women or members of parliament or state legislature are women. Women have been making decisions and passing laws for their own betterment for decades. Today, women reservation bill is sitting in the committee with no action taken. True empowerment of women came into picture when 33% of members of parliament and state legislature are women. Men in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislative do not have the authority to decide what is best for the woman, what is good for the woman. It's a high time. We are living in the 21st century. It is a 21st century. Let's women decide what is good for them. Men in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislative do not have the authority to decide what is better or what is good for women. Second is basic income for all. Basic income for everybody. What is your point of opinion on malnutrition? What is the solution? Give money to the needy. Various studies have conducted where it has been proven beyond the reasonable doubt that if a cash is given to the woman, she spends it wisely. She spends it on education, nutrition, health, not misplacing like a man on liquor, cigarettes or gambling. If we truly want to malnutrition to be eradicated in the country, we need a universal basic income, and for that cash must be given to the women, not in the hands of men. Then we have accept the Law Commission recommendation to in 2008 to keep the age of eligibility for both men and women at 18. We can also embrace the Law Commission's recommendation, which were made in 2008. The Law Commission suggested that the minimum age for both boys and girls to be kept as at 18 instead of raising it to 21. Decrease the minimum age for marriage for boys to 18 years of old to ensure balance. We can decrease the age of marriage for men instead of increasing the age for women. Encourage people to skill. No one should treat it unfairly. Encourage skilling. We have seen how through education, because education is the key. If you are educated, you can delay your marriage, you become financially strong, financially independent, you are not dependent on the mercies of our men. Let women enters into the employment, and this pandemic condition has shown us ugly story of this. If you are educated, you can delay your marriage. If you are educated, you become financially secure, financially independent, and you are not dependent on the mercies of men. Thousands of women are giving up on their work today because of the labor participation rates plummeting like never before. Encourage women to take up the occupation and provide them with employment option and make them financially strong. Last but not the least, women transportation safety issues. Why their jobs require them to travel by public transport, where women are grouped by men, despite the fact that the majority of the time there is a separate place, separate space for women inside the buses, inside the metros, inside separate space for men. Even after that, this is happening. We need to make a safe transportation available to a woman. That is women empowerment, because it will enable them not to quit their job, to continue into the job market and make themselves financially independent or financially strong. So this was all about this bill. Thank you for joining me. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to my channel. Bye bye, take care and good night.